first time. So I will start by introducing this is the topic, which is what makes a good website. And my name is Otieno Paul Peter. Now, basically, this is the person I am is if we are meeting for the first time, is I'm a business person, a business consultant and ICT consultant. We help people to build their businesses from scratch and finally put them online. I've done, my studies have always revolved around science and technology. I did a postgraduate in information systems. I did a degree in physics, applied electronics, and microprocessor systems. I've done so many certifications in these Microsoft and networks and all that. I've got industry experience of about 14 years, and a business person. I have other businesses uh, alongside ICT business. I've done 2 books. I'm an author on leadership and personal development, and I'm always passionate about sharing knowledge, training, and helping people to grow. I always use a mantra of equipping and inspiring people to live their dreams. And at the moment, I'm the one heading the technical department of ICT Gurus. More about me you can get from that website, otienopolpeter.com. And so about who we are as ICT Gurus is we provide hosting services, and that means we host emails and websites, just ensuring that you are always able to communicate and your website is always on. We've got over 10 years experience. We registered our business, it was a business then in 2009, and it was meant to help people solving technical problems with emails, with networks. It was meant to be just providing support. But over time, as people kept asking for things to do with hosting, and we always got disappointed by the people with whom we partnered in hosting, we want, and our name was always there. We wanted something that was more reliable. And so along the way, we converted it to a company and we started providing hosting services. So we put your business online. We just ensure that you are always available online. We are dependable and reliable, and we provide security for that. So the audience today amongst you, these people who make decisions whether do we need a website or we don't need, what type of website do we want, and things like that. People who've started businesses, people who are running SMEs, CEOs and directors, those intending to make use of online market, beginners in web development, all those are welcome here. And so maybe just as a matter of getting to know some of your expectations, or just for interaction, it would be good to know what you can always say your name and what you do, but then you should also tell us, in your own opinion, what makes up a good website, and even what you expect to learn today. And I will just pick a few of you, maybe not all due to time. So we can start with uh, Rose B. Could you just say something?
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Rose Trina Barasa.
Oh, this Baraza.
I work at Strathmore University under the Research and Innovation Center. And for me, I'd like to relate to, because websites are a most important asset, especially for businesses. And when you have a very credible and engaging online presence, it also requires work and patience. And I'm here to learn what are the the credentials, or what are the elements that make a good design, apart from content, and also how to get more from that website, to change it or return your investment ROI or something. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Rose. Now I know who Rose is. Yeah. Yeah, Masitesi, would you say something?
We can't hear you.
Sorry. Thank you. Can we hear from Masitesi? No, it seems like she's not joined her audio. Could we hear from Huawei? Huawei, if you're able to speak. Victor Kenneth. Hey, Huawei,
Hi,
you've unmuted. Just go on.
hi. You
Hi.
can, yeah. My name is Esther Jiroge.
Yes, Esther.
I work for a company called Ibis Hospitality Consultants Limited.
Yes.
We deal with food industry, and I'm just here to learn how to improve on how to make a good website in terms of content creation and how it can reach out to the market.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Esther. Victor Kenneth, would you say something? Then we move on.
Hello everyone. So I'm Victor Kenneth Baraza. I am a medical student at the University of Nairobi. Currently I'm on holiday, long holiday, and I'm learning software engineering. So that includes mobile development, web design, front end, back end, and UI UX. So I came here to learn about the best practices in business in designing our websites, and it's a pleasure to learn from all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor. Yeah, so that's beautiful. And let's keep engaging. So today, let's just dive in because we do not have enough time or all the time. But if there are questions, we will be able to handle them to the best of our ability as time may allow at the end. So what makes a good website? The word good is generic, which I simply chose because we can talk of very many things: beauty, appealing, but by the end of the day, there are some basic things that we must take into consideration if we are going to have the type of business or presence online that gives returns, as Rose was telling us. And the first and most important one is loading. First, loading. How long does your website take to load? You see, you can have a website that people are loading and they stand there waiting. They can go and serve themselves tea and come still waiting. Most of the people we have today are very impatient, very impatient. They try to load a website, it's taking 3, 4, 10 seconds, they move on. They want to load another one. Then most times it is assumed the website has a problem or something like that. So you want a website that loads pretty fast. It doesn't take too long to load. And, uh, and of course, that has a lot of things that determine it. And that means at the moment we'll talk of two sides. We want to assume that the consumer side, the visitor to your website has good internet already, and everything is in place, because that is one other point. I remember when we were when I used to work for an ISP organization, we were providing internet, but at some point the computer of the client has a problem, but they would not distinguish that from internet problem. So in this case, we want to say that the client on his side or on her side, everything is fine. It can only be on the other side. And that could be either on your side or on the host side. So on the host side, we can have something like bandwidth. If the bandwidth is not, what is bandwidth in this case? Bandwidth is the speed you are allocated by your host. It's like if you check, you are hosted by, say, Safaricom, and you are given this amount of data, you can exhaust it. Or you are given this narrow path. You can think of it as a path in in a road. So it's something that can be exhausted. And I have practical experience about the same, where in a church where I go, some years back, we tried to access the website, but it was saying your bandwidth is maxed. Please contact your host to give you more, something like that. Again, there is the element of space. What does space have to do with this? Just check with your phone or computer. When you are exhausting your space, then it starts becoming slow. The speed starts going down. When you are trying to open something, it's slow because of the space. And of course, the technology. There are different technologies that people use in the server side, the type of hard disk they are using, and all sorts of things. So a lot of it can have to do with your host. But then on the other side, it also has to do with you. What is it that you are doing on your end when you are building your website? It is the structure. Some websites are not structured well enough to load fast. The technology you're using, the images, and generally the overall weight of a web page. We are talking about a page now. A website has different pages, multiple pages. But in this case, when we pick a page, how long, for example, the landing page, the first page that we meet, how long does it take? Because that's the first page that we are going to interact with. If it takes too long, if it's too heavy, like I've seen many people put lots of images, lots of material, and it's sort of not well organized, it becomes structurally not very easy to load. And even when the weight is high, a web page should not be more than 1 MB. Most times it should be under 500 KB. That's the way it should be. But we've seen pages that even go to 10 MB and even above that. That means it will take too long and people will not be patient enough to wait. You see pages where some text come in, then there are blank spaces that you are waiting to load. And of course, the technology that has been used in the coding and all that will always depend what platforms are you using, among other things. So next thing that is most important in a good website is its security. Is it a safe website? The moment you land into a website, you always want to be sure that you've landed into a safer website. It's good to ensure that. Otherwise, there are many websites out there that are not pretty safe, and that means something might go wrong with your details. More so if you are using your phone in this case, and most people today use their phones. And your phones have all sorts of details, the contacts, whatever, everything. So you always need to be sure that the website you're dealing with is safe. One way is to ensure that the URL, that is the address for the website you are dealing with, has this S. Most times you will see some lock, padlock. If it is not safe, you will also see that it's giving you some warning that the website you're opening is not safe, and it has some red here that will be able to give you an alert. So be keen on that S. Most times there is there should be a generic one that your host can give you without additional cost. Of course, if you are running a premium website that people are putting in their card details, payment, whatever, then you need a premium one that requires additional investment. And then the URL should look genuine. What is a URL? I've just said it is the address that you're working with. For example, this is, let me share a screen, some other screen. Chrome. This one here is a URL. You can see there is an S here, but then like this one, it looks genuine because you can Google and find KP and all that. You can always check what, for example, if we Google maybe hotels in Nairobi, yeah, even if you check this one for Google, you can see this lock here. And if you open a particular website, you should not see something funny, some other things that you cannot read. So if you check this booking.com, it looks genuine. It's always good to check and ensure that the URL you're dealing with is a genuine one. And a good website should have, when we are talking in terms of security, there should be something to do with contact, a reasonable contact system or address, because that means you can reach those people and verify their authenticity or their genuineness. If there is nothing to do with how you can contact them, there are only places where to put in your details, there could be something amiss. And most websites, you can also check whether they have the social media links, which you can follow up and check even what they do post and things like that. So that is very critical. When we think of website, we must think in terms of, is it safe for us? Yeah, otherwise you may end up, and if you are the owner of the website, you must ensure that your clients or your visitors will be comfortable with your website. They will see that there is some element of security in it. Yeah, it's protected. It looks like somebody took time to ensure that the web, the credentials or the privacy of the visitors is taken care of. Now, we go to structure. Structure generally is how things flow, how things are organized. You can always reach a website where everything is everywhere and somewhat you get confused. It's good to know that a website creates an impression, and it can create a corporate image impression. It can create some flashy image impression. It can create a marketplace, Gikomba type of impression. It can create any impression that you choose. And most people, sometimes they are overtaken by just, there should be everything on the first page. And so somebody lands into a page and it has all sorts of things put together. And so navigation becomes very difficult. It's difficult to find out what is it that you are looking for. And most times it is the excitement of the builder or the developer. They just want to display their prowess. Like in selling, you know, your website is selling. Like in selling, what doesn't need to be said does not need to be said. I don't know if that makes sense. You just say what is enough, what is necessary. You just put what is necessary. What is not necessary is actually not necessary. So the information should be able to flow. We can see these are the services that you're dealing with. This is the type of person you are, about your organization. We can see, sit in the uh, uh, be in the shoes of your client and imagine what is it that they would be looking for. If it is a sales website, if it is a marketplace, for example, Jumia, they will start by those things that are on promotion, and then they go to, as they follow a structure that will be able to help people find what they are looking for. These are electronics, a tab for electronics. These are house equipment. These are clothes. These are maybe vehicles. These are whatever. So they are arranged in a particular manner that somebody does not just start uh, floating around. And then if the website is so heavy or it has a lot of information, then there must be a search box where somebody can just type in what they're looking for and searching for it. Navigation should be easy. I'm able to go back, I'm able to go to the top, I'm able to jump to this page because there are links that are put together. We should be having links that take people from this page to the other page. For example, if we look at, let me look for a site. Uh, mm, we can even look for this booking site. Yeah, you can see there are bookings for flights, for cars. Well, so somebody starts by choosing here what type of booking is he looking for, and they also have here for members who can sign in, and then you immediately get what you are looking for. Yes, I'm booking I want to check in, I'm this number of people, whatever. But you see, now you see that this one comes in at the top. They are not putting in anything flashy, running around images, whatever, confusing and distractions. It is a booking site. Its main job is to book and get people to get what they want very fast. If you check here, they are giving you what do you are you looking for 5-star? Are you looking for 4-star? What type of reviews they have here and things like, are you looking for lowest prices? So they are already imagining what is it that you're looking for. You're not just going there to stroll, you're going there to look for some information. So that navigation is very important. And if you check, there are various links that will take you to whatever the place you want to be. That helps in navigation. Yeah. So most times, personally, I don't prefer websites that you scroll and scroll and scroll and you don't reach the end. Yeah, it's good to be having some regulation with respect to how long you want your customer to scroll. That's very, very important. Yeah, call for action. What is it? Your website should have a place, or almost immediately the moment somebody gets in. Some people do not have a lot of bundle. If they are using bundle, they do not have a lot of time to go around. You should be asking them, what is it that you're looking for? Can you make a call? Can you make a decision? You help them to make a decision. And just like in sales, you must try to close. That is the call to action. You are always trying to close at appropriate moments. And that's very, very critical when you are building a website. You can build, give people information, then by the end of the day, there is only the contact page that contact us. These are the telephone numbers and something like that. You've not prompted somebody to call. It's like I was taught in sales. If somebody asked you, for example, you are selling, let's say you are selling beverages. Somebody asks you, do you have some drinks? You have a choice. You can say yes, and then they say, okay. thank you for information. Or you can say, I have this type, this type, this type, this type. Then you ask a question, which type do you want? You must always call for action in your website. And then content, of course, we know about the content. The content should be rich. What is it that will bring people to your website? You know, sometimes somebody is just Googling something, they are looking for information. And, you know, some of our websites only have what we are selling. It doesn't have additional information to educate. In today's market, people want education. They want to be enlightened. And somebody who is in business is becoming a consultant in that they help people to make decisions by educating them. And so your website should also have that element of education, either in terms of video, in terms of some of the images, the text that you put in. So it should be able to help people to get the information that you are looking for. It's serving their purpose, much as it's also serving your purpose. You see, I hope that's clear. For example, somebody wants to make a decision on the type of, you are an ISP, you are providing internet services, connections. When somebody reaches your website, they should also get some information. What is it that I need to consider when I'm making such a decision? Yeah, maybe the bandwidth, whatever, what is the difference between limited and unlimited, all those things. When somebody Googles just randomly, just researching, maybe a student, they reach there, and somewhat that makes them stay longer into your website, and that makes your website also rank higher. If you do not have sufficient information in your website, even the search engines, depending on how long people take in your website, if they are taking 2 minutes, 1 minute, then the search engine also doesn't rank it very well. So you always need to have content rich website. Try to have maybe a blog area, or just when you are displaying your services, you can always add some flash just to ensure that people can get properly guided. Images are good. We say a picture communicates 1,000 words. The question is, how heavy is it? It should not be heavy, but it should be clear. We should not have images of 10 MBs because I picked it using my phone or some high resolution camera. It comes when it's 90 GB. I've reduced it. It's now 10 GB, 10 MB. And I'm feeling like this is the image I want you to start with. It will be heavy. And then some of us put all sorts of images. We were in an event, we put all those images. We were having a party, we put all those images. When you're putting an image, put an image that helps somebody to make a decision. You see, for example, you are providing internet services or hosting services, but the images you are putting are for the CEO's having a party or posing for a photo, images that don't help somebody to make any decision. There should be action images, images of the servers, images of your work in progress, on things like that. So find things that are relevant, not images that are you're just posting somewhere. Somebody is meant to think, so what was they doing here? There can be videos that have information, videos that have that showcase your product and things like that. It should be able to help somebody to understand what is it that you have, how, and also to feed their knowledge with the truth about the industry and everything you're dealing with, because you want to be of value. Remember, people buy for 3 reasons. They know you, they like you, they trust you. How will they trust you? Because and like you? Because you've given them rich information that they can use independently outside there. So they feel like you are a resource. And that is where digital marketing becomes tricky. If we are in digital marketing and all that we are sending to people are flyers about our business, whatever, but we are not giving them information, then it just becomes another advert, just another billboard. And that is what we mean also by free samples. You're giving people the content that makes them feel the type of services you are offering, the type of solutions you are giving. So it's good to put that into consideration, and your website should be up to date. Most times when somebody is Googling something, and more so in technology world, we try to check when was this put there, so that we are able to know whether it's a relevant input or it's been overtaken by events. So it's always good to ensure that your website is up to date. It doesn't show 2017 when we are in 2020. If your website shows we are in 2021, then somebody feels like this is an updated website. It's not something that used to be there. Accessibility, and the issue here is whether people can always find you when they are looking for you. You see, when they Google you, can they get you? So are you available online, or your website can be unavailable? And we discussed this as we were starting about some of the things that can make your website unavailable. For example, if you have low bandwidth, you exhausted it. If you have an intermittent server that is not very reliable, then you may be unavailable. If there was something, some coding that went wrong and the website somewhat went down and now you are recovering it, you can be unavailable, and all sorts of things. So it could be on your side, it could be on your host's side, but your main, being unavailable can mean in physical terms that you've closed an office, but you did not tell somebody. So if a client walks in, finds that, oh, today they are not operating, you see that impression. It's exactly the same. Today, it's good to know that more people interact with you using your website than coming to you physically. And this is why it's good for every organization to at least have an online presence. It's 24/7. It's always there. Somebody can always refer to something that they didn't get. And there are people who take this thing casually. But by the end of the day, the other day I was discussing with a friend of mine, and they are running an insurance agency, and they were telling me that the last 3 years, only 10 clients have visited their offices. So they were even relocating to a more convenient, a more affordable office, because literally very few people come to your office. They will interact with you online, on phone, and all sorts of things. And sometimes you are the one to go to them. And today, with the advancement of technology, people can have video conferencing. With the COVID thing going on, and there is limited physical interaction. If your website is not available, it's a big deal. It's like you've closed shops. A number of times, people have always looked for me, but because they lost my number for whichever reason, they Google my name and arrive at my website to get my number to call me. So what if it's unavailable? Then they don't call me. Sometimes they call me for various reasons, maybe for an interview, some TV, whatever. But what if I'm not available? So it's like you've closed shops. Discoverability will always depend on how your website is optimized. Maybe I was Googling hotels, and your hotel will come up if you are operating in an hotel. But if it's not fine-tuned, if your website is not fine-tuned, then you cannot be easily discovered. So it's always important to check how discoverable is your uh, organization online. And then there is the simplicity of the domain, something that you can remember, something that people can remember. You see, it should always be the exact name of your organization. Yes, if your organization is ABC Limited, we should be able to have abc.com if possible. And .com is always the default. Anything else is secondary. If you can get .com, you always are better placed if it is a business organization to secure the .com. Yeah, and if you have the capacity, you can always secure all the other extensions .co.ke, .net, .biz, because somebody else with a same name and maybe in a different country can register, and so there can always be confusion about which website is which. So if you can always preserve or reserve all the domain names that are related to your organization. But first and foremost, always ensure that if possible, you get the .com. Well optimized, we've discussed that in discoverability. And well, I think that is much of what we can discuss today. I will open it up for questions. What do we have? We have the packages for shared hosting, for dedicated and semi-dedicated. Dedicated means you have your own server. You are the one managing it. Semi-dedicated means it is partly yours and partly shared. Most of the hosting that people have are shared. It's like you are in an apartment, everyone has a key to his or her place. We are affordable, by the way. We only give unlimited resources, and so the only difference is how many websites do you want to host in one particular control panel. We have an enhanced control panel system, not the conventional cPanel, and so that makes us have better security and more reliability. And because we are not limiting your bandwidth, we are not limiting your space, you can always be sure of that availability. And we have 24/7 support via ticket. It's not dependent on any individual being available. It is always on. And you can always expand. You start with shared, maybe now you want to go to dedicated and something like that. And we have all the contacts available even on our website, ictgurus.co.ke. At this moment, I will welcome questions. We have 20 minutes at most to answer if there is any question, including comments if need be.
Hi,
Hi.
I would request if you can share what we have just discussed.
If I can share in terms of
If you can share the points that you have just taken us through.
okay, I'll be able to share. You can put your email on the chat, then I will be able to share with you the video.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I have a question. Let's say you're hosting let me see. You're taking sensitive data, let's say medical information, and you have to host it somewhere. What would you recommend?
Just come up again. You have medical data, you want to post it.
Yeah, so I'm asking if, let's say, I'm dealing with medical data, medical records, and I have to host it somewhere. It's supposed to be secure. And currently the laws of the government are you're not supposed to host data outside the country. So what do you suggest in such a case?
You see, most times, most hosting is very private, and uh, and it's not easy to tell where it is hosted. It's like you have a bank account. When you get into a bank, they won't tell you that your money is actually at that corner where there is a lock. Yes, yours is to secure the hosting, just like in Google. If you have that content, it's probably in maybe some Google Drive. Now, Google Drive, where are the servers? Do you actually know that literally this one is now in Kenya? This one is in. When we are talking of digital presence, it is borderless. There is no boundary. You see, and this is
Okay.
why we are breaking the physical walls, and so we are available to everybody, and that makes sure that if you have a .com or those international domains, it makes you available everywhere. You know, the beauty of digital presence is you are not restricted to where you are physically. Yes, somebody can buy your item from Kisumu, from Tanzania, from wherever, as long as you make it available. So when you secure a hosting, most times it is really not much of your business where that thing is. And for security purposes, there are always redundancy. Just up to the other day, M-Pesa servers were brought to Kenya, and I'm sure not everything is in Kenya because they still need backups. What if there is total blackout like the other day? There was total blackout in the whole of the country. People are unable to get your services. So you don't need to, nobody really will start getting into the details of where exactly is getting the data. What you need to ensure is you have a secure server, a secure hosting somewhere, and you take care of it. The other day, you remember last general election, the ECK, nowadays it's called boundary something, IEBC. IEBC, they were being asked about to access the server, then they start saying they're in France. You see, who knew that they were in France until they told us? Nobody cares. We always thought maybe it's in their offices in anniversary towers. You see, it's never like that.
So I think there is a restrictive nature of the government policies because when I checked the information, they told me I'm not supposed to host it outside the country. And within the country, we have limited infrastructure. Then the other question was, do you have analytic services?
Yes, we do. For our servers, we do. We have analytic services. Now, the other thing you need to know, sometimes the people making policies are just not informed enough. For example, it depends on how often you want to access that data. For example, the University of Nairobi, they have their local servers at the Institute of Computing. Yeah, some of the local servers they put there for their local information. But what they are trying to ensure is that they have everything within them. But do you have that capacity? The other thing is, even if they have there are some sensitive data that will always need what we call redundancy. Redundancy is what even in the banks, they always talk of business continuity strategy. What if Al-Shabaab bombed that place? You see, so in IT, we need to take all that into consideration. Yeah, thank you.
Then is the database NoSQL or SQL database?
SQL.
SQL.
Yeah.
Do you have a NoSQL database? Because I believe the NoSQL is robust in
Let's
analytics and they can integrate it with artificial intelligence.
let's do this, Victor, because that is now with respect to your own consumption. We can take it off site. Yeah, so that we
Ah,
don't.
okay.
Uh,
Thank you.
yeah, just put your number there, then we will be able to get in touch and share. Thank you very much. Any any other comment? Any other question? Silence may mean none, and in that case, we would just close it so that we can always embark on other businesses. I will just say thank you for thank you for coming and for sharing your moment with us. And let's keep in touch. Put your contacts there if possible, or if you picked our contact, you can always send the email, and then we will be able to share with you the recording for today. Otherwise, we are happy and grateful, and we wish you a very beautiful day, Friday, and even the weekend ahead. Great. Have a good day.